Hello, I'm Dan from Edimo Electric Bikes, and today we've come to beautiful Barmouth to do a full review of the Charger4 and the Delight 4, and also to attempt to ride up to Cadair Idris. So the bike that I want to show you today is the Charger4. It's the top specification of this bike, so it's the GT Rohloff version of it. Now, for those who are eagle-eyed will have noticed that as Riese Müller have moved their range of bikes onto the new smart system from Bosch, they haven't moved the Supercharger over or either the Super Delight. Now, we don't know whether they're planning to do that in the future or whether sadly it's the end of those two bikes. But don't be upset, because this new Charger4 actually has pretty much the same specification as the old Supercharger. And I'm going to run through all the different bits and pieces on this to show you why. So I guess the first thing on this bike that is absolute key and we've got to talk about is the battery. So if we're thinking about what the Supercharger had previously and comparing it to this, the Charger4, the battery difference is not that much. So on the Supercharger, you had an option of either two 500 watt-hour batteries or two 625 watt-hour batteries, making the bike either 1000 watt-hour or 1250 watt-hours. Now the new Charger4, as standard, it comes with a 750 watt-hour battery in the down tube. So as a single battery bike on its own, that's pretty huge and it's going to do most of the rides that you probably want to do. But it does have a huge benefit that it has an additional 250 watt-hour range extender. Now that takes the total of the bike up to 1000 watt-hours, which was exactly the same as the Supercharger when it first came in. For those of you who were always intent on buying the 1250 watt-hour battery, the best way of doing that now is to buy this bike with a range extender and then buy another one of these if you really need it and stick it in your pannier bag. With this combination of batteries, we will be looking at around about 100 miles of range on this bike like it is now, road riding, probably in eco, or up to, you could take that up to sort of 1,200 miles, I don't think you're going to get that, 120 miles if we start adding more batteries into our pannier bag. But if I'm really honest, most people will probably never use those additional batteries. So have a real think as to what sort of distance you're going to ride and then get the bike with the right size battery. And don't forget, you get no points for bringing home a charged battery. So you might as well either leave it at home in the first place or just ride everywhere in turbo. So looking at the specification of this bike, we've gone overboard. We've put everything we can on it, and we've also included an upgrade to some nice Ortlieb pannier bags. These are the gravel set. I can't remember exactly the names of them all. We're going to do a review of them in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll put that out for you as well. But they look nice, I guess, especially against this black matte frame that we've got. So this bike is fitted with the Johnny Watts tyres. So these are the off-road tyres, suitable for doing all sorts of stuff that we're hoping to do over this weekend. You'll see we've also fitted the front rack and bag onto this, so we've got loads of storage. This is a Riese Müller bag, this one, with the front rack as well. Headlight has been moved down onto the front rack as well, instead of being up on the handlebar where it comes as standard. That's because as soon as you load up your front bag, you then block the light, so that's the reason that is down there. This bike is fitted with ABS brakes. Now, the way that the ABS brakes work is that we monitor the front and the speed of the front and the rear wheel, and if they start moving at different speeds, it basically stops you from locking that front wheel. So if you're going into a corner rapidly and you pull on the front brake, it won't lock it to stop you sliding out on the corner. And also, if you pull it really hard on a track, it's not going to let you go over the handlebars. So fitted with ABS as standard. I know this is a really good option. It used to be quite clunky, I guess, when it was on the handlebars, the old version. This is the Bosch e-bike 2.0 ABS, and it's just a little module that's down on the fork there, and it is really discreet and really useful, and we're already getting piles of people ordering their bikes with the ABS on it, so it's going to be a really, really popular option, this, going forwards. Moving up onto the handlebars, on this bike we are fitted with the Kiox 500. It comes with a Kiox 300, I think, as standard. The 500 is a little bit bigger, and it's handy if you're going to use it with the Flow app for doing your sat-nav, with a very basic sat-nav on it. The screen's just a bit bigger and a bit easier to see. You can also change this out, and we can go for the smartphone clamp, which we've actually got fitted to the other bike today, which allows your Flow app to then work as a fully functioning sat-nav. And it also has wireless charging on it as well. So if your phone has wireless charging, drop it on that. It's absolutely superb. I've checked it on mine, it works, and I'll be giving that a go later on today. Now, most importantly, any adventure bike that we look at, anything that's capable of doing this really, really sort of rugged, long distance riding, we always recommend, if you can afford it, go for the Rohloff Hub, the Rohloff E14 Hub. It's not a cheap option. It costs around about £1,500 extra, but it gives you the massive benefit of having the belt drive and then a 14-speed gearbox in the rear wheel. Sorry. It looks like somebody going out to sea with a trident or something. Oh, they're measuring the speed of the wind and the water. I thought we were the only weird people out here today, but there's obviously some other weird people as well. So the Rohloff Hub, so really, really good option. It's got a massive range of gears. So if you're going to be trying to climb some huge hills, you either want to be going for the chain cassette version, so the touring version, or you want to be going for the Rohloff version. The Rohloff is nice because you haven't got that chain, so you don't have to oil it. You're not going to get mud and crap all stuck in it everywhere. It's really easy to clean. It's definitely the best option, but it does come at a price. If it is too much and you're thinking of going adventure riding, definitely go for the chain and cassette version. You won't be upset with that. Another feature on this bike that I'm looking forward to using today, this is the bike that has the heated saddle on it. Today I've just switched it on, a little blue light comes on underneath here, and I've actually got freezing cold hands, so I'm hoping I'm going to keep my hands warm. It heats the saddle up to something like 32, 37 degrees, can't quite remember it. I can feel it heating up now already. And it just makes for a nice warm ride. Days like this, it's absolutely perfect. Maybe not something you're going to want through the summer, but when it gets to the winter, you're going to appreciate it. Downside, I guess, of having the heated saddle is that you lose the Cane Creek thumb buster. There's a cable that's running through from the middle of the saddle down through the seat post tube, and that just means that they can't have the Cane Creek thumb buster sitting in the middle there. On a hardtail, just let the air out the tyres. Go for soft tyres, it's just as good. You don't get this on the Delight 4 and stuff. You get this heated saddle on the Charger and on the Nevo, and I think that's about it in the whole range. There you go, it's nice and warm now. Keep my hands warm. Lovely. So also on this bike, if you're going to be doing long days of riding, really important is some decent lights. Now, this bike comes with a main beam and dip front light and also brake lights on the rear. So you're going to be really, really visible on this bike, and also you're going to be able to see where you're going if you end up riding just a little bit too long and you are riding into the dark. Magic, really lovely lights. Next thing on this bike, obviously we've got these pannier racks on the back. They're set to carry a significant amount of weight. Now, we've actually gone for some relatively small pannier bags on this, but you can imagine loading this up with all your kit. So in this middle bag here, I've got sort of sweets and fruits and nuts, and I've got all my toolkit and various bits and pieces stored in there. And then we've got these 2 extra bags sitting on the front. Now, Rufus knows that actually today, these are mostly full of like bubble wrap and stuff, just to make them look good and to make me look super tough when I'm riding. So I haven't got that much kit in it, but imagine if you were going for a weekend, you could have your tent on stuff, or your sleeping bag and tent on the front, plus all your clothes and everything. Easy to load up everything you'd need for a weekend sort of bike packing on something like this. So you might be able to tell it's freezing cold and it is getting a little bit windy. So rather than sort of carry on droning on about this incredibly good bike, why don't we get out there for a ride, and on my way round, I'll stop and I'll try and pick out a few different bits and pieces and show you exactly how they work. we've just finished our ride out from Barmouth. Total, I'm guessing, is about sort of 15 to 17 miles we've done. We've headed up into the hills just over the back, just south of Barmouth, straight up into the snow. We've taken the wrong turning a few times, completely Rufus's fault. I left him in charge of the maps and the sat-nav type thing. But we've been up through the snow, freezing cold, soaking wet, and some of the puddles that we've had have been so deep, I think I've submerged probably pretty much the second battery that's on, definitely the motor, but everything's been working absolutely fine. The bike has been brilliant. ABS has been epic, so that stopped me going over the handlebars countless times. I only went over the handlebars once, and luckily Rufus had stopped filming. But the good news is I caked myself in mud, but it's rained so much that the whole bike has been cleaned, so it's all looking immaculate again. So this bike, as a comparison, how is it? It's been absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite bikes that I own is my supercharger that I've got, so a hardtail bike. This has had all the same fun as that, and it's actually got the same size battery, bizarrely, so 750 and a 250 here, 1000 watt hour in total. It's been really good on some of the rapid descents. It's really been flying along, and I quite like that feeling sometimes of you're starting to sort of skip around the road and it really feels like it's alive and fun to ride. So it's been brilliant. If you're interested in one of these Charger4s with the range extender and the Rohloff hubs and everything, don't hesitate to give us a call, drop us an email, or even just book straight into our diary to come have a test ride on this bike in our Cotswold store. We're now been through probably about our 50th, 60th gate, and we can see Barmouth in the background. We're going to drop off the side of the hill, back down in, go and grab ourselves some chips and a beer, and go and get a good night's sleep, ready for another bike ride tomorrow.